So, in the story of Noah, the flood stays on the earth for 150 days. And 150 days after the start of the rain on this watch ends on November 9th this year, which is the warning date from 2011. So, in the story of Noah, the 150 days refer to the amount of time the floodwaters stay on the earth. And during that time, Noah is in the ark, and at the end of the 150 days, the ark rests on the top of a mountain, which is another bizarre coincidence because the Mayflower first spotted land on November 9th. So it almost seems like a congruency there. The spotting of land on November 9th and the landing of the ark on the top of the mountain on the 150th day, which in 2014 lands on November 9th, the same day the Mayflower spotted the land. We also know the asteroid is referred to as a mountain after it hits in the book of Daniel. So there are levels to this that I may never be able to wrap my brain around. But the other thing about the weekend of the 9th is the premiere of this Balloon Man movie called Big Hero 6. It's opening on the weekend of November 7th through the 9th. And this goes back to the vision I had in December 2012 of the nuclear event in New York City. And that's still on YouTube in the playlist Dreams and Visions. And I saw in that vision a huge white balloon man next to the Statue of Liberty, and there were boils on people's skin. And that also ties back to the June watch, 150 days prior to this movie opening, because right here on the start of Noah's reign, because there was that giant white hot air balloon of Jesus the day before that watch started. And the position of this, the way this is shaped is meant to represent the Christ statue in Rio, but that was the exact position that Jesus was standing in my vision in 2012 when I saw the tsunami hit. It's, like I said, the stance of the Rio Christ statue, which was also lit up for the World Cup, also on this watch period. So, like I said, in the visions I saw of the tsunami and nuclear event in New York, Jesus was standing like the Christ statue, and there was a giant white balloon man. Both things occurred on this watch period in conjunction with the massacre by the army mentioned in Revelation 9 that is associated with the asteroid impact that the texts indicate will happen between now and 2016. And the texts say there are 150 days after Noah's reign starts, and 150 days later lands on November 9th this year, the same weekend the giant white balloon man movie releases. Okay, and here's another coincidence. As we talked about, there are 40 days of rain, so to speak, from the Draconid meteor shower in October until the Leonids in November. 40 days of meteor showers. And if you count another 40 days after the Leonids this year, you land on true Shavuot in the southern hemisphere, the wheat harvest, which also represents the rescue. That lands on Christmas this year. And remember, the Mayflower spotted land on November 9th, 1620, and docked at Cape Cod 2 days later on November 11th. Well, they began construction of their first buildings on Plymouth Rock on Christmas Day. And Christmas this year will be the 12th fulfillment of these 3 visions if they continue for a 4th year. So this is very complex. I can understand why some people just, a lot of people don't have the time, and even if they did, a lot of people just can't comprehend. It's just very, very complex. And that's unfortunate because it seems like a really important warning here. But what I wanted to point out, though, is that the watch on September 16th through the 18th was the UN 69th Assembly this year. In fact, the UN General Assembly was on that watch date for the past 3 years, and I cannot believe I missed that before, especially this recent one, because I had a dream about 69 a month before that. So that's a new thing that I just realized recently. So this watch in September may have been about the UN General Assembly this whole time. I don't know. But the watch in October starts this Sunday, October 26th, until October 29th. And I feel like it should extend until November 1st, because we were talking about how atonement is the next biblical appointment to be fulfilled. And it's the 3rd year from Earth on the cross. Halloween is the 3rd year from Earth on the cross. And one more thing, Halloween this year is also the 3rd anniversary from when the human population reached 7 billion, exactly on Halloween 2011. And we talk about the 7 billion in the video on the 7 candlesticks, or the 7 churches. It's linked below. And I just feel like all the references to 7 in the Bible may, at least on one level, be pointing to that milestone when the human population reaches 7 billion. I don't know. So again, that Halloween this year and True Atonement is the 3rd year from that milestone when the human population reached 7 billion. And then one more final thing about this November watch that begins on the first day of True Sukkot, November 7th through the 9th. In the old days, they used to use this expression, canary in the coal mine, for something that represented a warning. Well, around November 7th, 2011, all 600 residents of one of the Canary Islands was evacuated. This is one of the articles right here, put out November 7th. And the Canary Islands has everything to do with an Atlantic tsunami. So that's another reason to think we may have been given a 3-year heads up to what's about to happen. I don't know. I'm just pointing out the unusual coincidences like I always do. But this is a very high watch for the next 3 weeks. And whatever happens this next week may give us a clue about the Christmas watch, because remember I uploaded this vision right here October 13th 2011, and we were shown a power outage, a hurricane, a volcano, and a circle with a line through it in that vision. That's what's right here. And the power outage occurred 2 weeks later in Connecticut. The hurricane hit New York on the same date the following year, and on October 26th in 2013, the true 7th day of Sukkot that year, the Sicily Island volcano erupted. Well, it turns out the circle with the line through it is the Danish word for island. So that may have been what it referred to, or it might refer to something this year. I don't know. But this vision that was fulfilled 3 years in a row so far on roughly the same dates is accompanied by these other 2 visions that have also been playing out each consecutive year on the same dates. And this Christmas Eve fire always occurs in the place where either the October event occurs or where the September event occurs. So for example, in 2011, the Christmas fire occurred in Connecticut, and the October event that year was the power outage in Connecticut. Then in 2012, the fire was in New York, and the October event that year was Hurricane Sandy hitting New York. And then in 2013, the fire was in DC, and the September event that year was the DC shooting. And then also notice the fires seemed to be increasingly worse each consecutive year. And in 2011, it was the death of one family. In 2012, it was 7 houses on fire and 4 firemen were murdered, shot by a gunman. They said it was an ambush. And the fire in 2013 displaced 24 people. So we'll see if there are any clues that come up in this October watch coming up this next week. But like I said before, if these patterns continue to play out for a 4th year, then Christmas this year will be the 12th fulfillment. And I feel like it has to be a warning. I mean, I don't know why it would be anything else. God said people will receive visions and dreams in the last days. And why? I mean, it seems like to warn the people of what's coming, I guess. I mean, I don't know why else. So far, these visions seem to highlight Connecticut, New York, and DC, which are all locations along the east coast of the United States. And the other visions I've had seem to be warnings about the same thing: an asteroid impact, a tsunami hitting the balloon sculpture, which we found out is at the World Trade Center in New York City, the nuclear event in New York City with the giant white balloon man. And now we find out that movie of the big white balloon man releases the weekend of November 9th. I mean, I'm not trying to freak anyone out, but I personally did move out of New York after these visions started. I mean, I really do think it's a warning, but it's up to you. Do what's right for you. The texts do say the rescue will occur before the impact of the asteroid, but I don't know what will happen before the impact. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel I have to tell you, I feel like an idiot doing this year after year. I don't get rewarded for it. Believe me, it's like having monkeys throw their poo at you all day long. But I hope you can see that this is real. I mean, it might be hard to understand at first, but it really seems like a warning from God to me. I'm sorry, but after all these years, I have to say, I really think that's what it is. So that's pretty much it for this week. If you have any questions about anything, or you're just interested in having more information, you can just click on show more below this video, because there are tons of links in the description box below this video. And also I have an ebook on my website and also on Amazon that has some material in it as well. So I hope that this was somehow beneficial to you this weekend. I hope you're all doing well, and I just want to say thank you again to those of you that are offering support, because you know I can't do this without your help. So I'm sure everyone appreciates that as well. So again, I hope you're doing okay, and I will talk to you next week. Okay, bye-bye.